What's going on, Flames Nation? We are back, the Sea of Red Football Podcast. I am Richie Longshots. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, whether it is this evening, tomorrow morning, or any other time this week. For those watching on video, you can already see who I'm joined with this evening, and that is the man, the myth, the legend, all things Liberty Athletics, founder, owner of a Sea of Red, John Manson. How we living this Tuesday night?
As your name tag says, we won't apologize for winning, and I agree with you. And you know that's another reason you should be watching us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You can do that as a replay or watch us live, but you never know what Mr. Longshots will have underneath his name as his tagline. Or our good friend CT, he had a special one for us. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. So,
Yeah.
But hey, we got the W over UMass. We'll break it down a little bit, but hey, you don't apologize for win. It wasn't pretty. We got a little bit of help, but you need that sometimes.
Exactly. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that was a perfect football game. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that football game will beat Western Kentucky or will beat Sam Houston or will beat Jacksonville State. Probably not. But you got to look at each game in a vacuum. There's things to work on again, but they found a way to win. And that has been the recurring theme all season. They found a way to win, even with two turnovers again. You mentioned some kicking luck going our way, but great game. Quentin Cooley kind of, you'd see 20 rushing attempts, 147 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been reliable. I think he's firmly etched his name in that Mount Rushmore of Liberty running backs that we'll be able to go to moving forward. Joe Carter, not just a guy that hit a walk-off home run in a World Series. Great linebacking performance. I'm clearly reading from the slides because I was in Colorado. I did watch the end of the game because my friends were like, lost to UMass. And when they won, I went off. I said some things. But
could you imagine if we lost to UMass and Kennesaw State in the same season?
It sounds like 2000
whatever
11 type stuff.
Yeah, but how was your trip to Colorado? You got to experience a game in Boulder, Colorado and Utah, Fox Big Noon kickoff as well, which I guess is 10 a.m. out there.
Yeah, great vibes. We were in Alabama last year. Definitely a different vibe when it comes to stadium atmosphere. Like Alabama, everyone was locked in every play, live and die every play. Colorado, from where we were sitting with pretty good seats, definitely more of a relaxed party atmosphere, but still a great time. It's one of the things that makes college football so special is that every school, they handle things, they do things differently, and getting to see Ralphie run across the field and just the way that Deion Sanders, and I know we have a lot of people that might not like him, he's rejuvenated a program, he's rejuvenated a city. You had people there supporting Colorado that might have never done that before. And I think there's some parallels to that with what Liberty has done in the last 5 years, where they've garnered national attention. They've done it differently. We don't have a Deion Sanders like coach, but the success on the field drives people in. And that's years of success on the field. And I'm excited for Liberty's future. I'm seeing some tailgate stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I got to let Ian know this is a good idea. So always great to get out there. Disappointed I missed the first 57 minutes of the game, but I was checking. Twitter was a hoot, as always. Public service, just wait till the game's over to tweet. I mean, I don't care what people tweet, but a lot of times, the internet's forever. Screenshots live forever. You rattle off, you say some things. You probably try to go delete it afterwards, but hey, tweet away, have at it. I wait till the game's over before I start firing off hot takes. One guy was like, Chadwell's on his way out. He wants to leave. I'm like, I don't think that's the truth.
Yeah, Richie, it's funny you mentioned that. In my day and age, speaking as an old man, it was the message boards. That's where I hung out during games. And that is very similar to Liberty Twitter or other sports teams' Twitter. But it's kind of confined to your own fan base.
Yeah.
And, it would always be funny. I'd always love to go back and read the game threads, back in the heyday of message board
Mhm.
5, 10, 15 years ago. And people are just absolutely off their rocker, emotional mess
Yeah.
during games. Well, it's the same way now, but except most of that is done on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's not the same as being confined to your own fan base for the most part. So it is
Yeah.
different. But one thing that I'm coming to learn, I think we as a Sea Red are coming to learn, is that Liberty's fan base has grown
Mhm.
tremendously in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. You love to see it. The more eyeballs on us, the better.
Agreed.
And also, our brand, the Liberty brand, has grown so much that we have a lot of people that are not Liberty people, that are anti-Liberty people, that want to see Liberty fail.
Yeah.
They're also watching us and paying attention to us. So, it's hard to withhold some of the things you're thinking, whether that's in the heat of the moment of a game or reply to someone in the heat of the moment of a game. When I'm live tweeting a game, I see lots of crazy replies to some of our tweets. But hey, that's part of the game, and it's part of being a big time college athletic program. But before we move on, I would like to just touch on the game a little bit more. We fell behind 20-7 at halftime. Ended up coming back and winning. Obviously, it marks the third time this season Liberty has come back from a deficit of 13 or more points. First time in program history that's happened.
Feels like more, to be honest.
It
Like,
does
I'm just thinking in my head.
It does feel like more, but it also feels like Groundhog Day. I put this in some of my recap.
Mhm.
The weekend was. It seems like every week it's the same story with this team. Is they're getting off to a slow start, digging a big hole, and then having to dig out of it. And I mean, we saw that against New Mexico State. We saw it against East Carolina. We saw it against obviously Kennesaw State. We weren't able to dig ourselves out of it. And I was hopeful. As long as we were winning those games, I still stayed optimistic and gave the team the benefit of the doubt. And then after the Kennesaw State loss, I was hopeful that we had kind of put that to bed. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that that's the case. And I'm hopeful now that it was just a blip on the radar. And we talked about it last week. This was a bad spot for Liberty and a good spot for UMass. Them coming off a bye week, them having a new quarterbacks. They ended up being two and rotated them pretty much every other play. It's just how it is. I'm glad we won. It's also not a conference game, and that's one thing that see the comment here from our good friend Bill Powell. Time to turn the quarter. WKU goes down Saturday. We'll talk a lot about that here in a few minutes after we get done with our guy JP in a moment. But this season is so interesting. It'll be one. We'll have to wait and see what the final chapter says for us. But there's so many storylines, so many ups and downs. Feels like there's been more downs than ups. But when you sit here and you say you're 7-2 and you control your own destiny with 2 weeks left in the regular season, you win the next two games. You're playing for a conference championship for a second straight week or second straight year, and you have a chance to host the game if you get a little bit of help. So, we got that help from Louisiana Tech beating Western Kentucky. So we control our own destiny now. If Liberty's somehow able to win these next three games, let's say, including the conference championship game, and you get to 10-2 and you're conference champions, sure, we're not going to the playoffs, right? I don't think we would have gone undefeated anyways, seeing what Boise, Army, Tulane are doing right now. They're all in the top 20 of the CFP, I believe, right?
Yeah.
That came out tonight. So I don't think we were going there anyways, but it will certainly be an interesting story and an interesting season that we'll have to recap if we get to that point. Because all along the way, these last, really the last month, it felt like this season was headed for total disappointment.
Yeah.
But the guys have have it in front of them. And it still could. I mean, we could go out here and Western Kentucky could beat us. They're a good team. They're favored by 1.5 points or 1 point, wherever you look, and they could beat us. But if we can win these next 3 games, you know, winning a conference championship has to be our goal one, priority number one each and every season. And if we can do that, then it's something we'll definitely have to celebrate as we get into the postseason.
Yeah, I agree. I know it's cliche, and you hear when people talk about sports at all levels, but there's teams that play to their competition. If we got blown out by Jacksonville State, I think we'd be singing a different song right now. But that was a close game. Came down to our final possession. Game kind of turned into a free for all. So it's not like we're getting blown out by bad teams. We're just squeaking by some of the teams that on paper, or maybe we don't have those. We don't have high expectations for those games. So it's a big one. One of the better teams we faced this year, but it's a win. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a pretty win. It's a great win. It's not a win you hang your hat on, but at the end of the day, all those sentences start with win. So
yeah.
I'd much rather a pretty win than an ugly loss or a beautiful loss.
Sure. So, no, I'm right there with you. And
not trying to fanboy. I'm not drinking. No, not out here shotgunning Kool-Aid like I was last year. But we got lemonade tonight before people start accusing me of drinking on air again.
Yeah, no, it's again, we could sit here and break down this game so many ways, and Coach Chadwell talked about it after the game. Is what type of changes were made at halftime? He said it was a mindset, it was a heart change. We came out and played like the hungry team in the second half, and in the first half we weren't that team, and unfortunately that's been the case for this team more often than not. We talked about it, but I talked about it a lot in some recap articles on the website, and feel free to go back and talk about that. And we could spend this next 45 minutes to an hour that we're on this show beating the team up and picking apart its flaws and things, which there are plenty of them. And we've talked about them before, but we're going to kind of, as Bill said, we're going to kind of turn the page and get ready for this Western Kentucky game and see what this team can do. Big stage, it's a playoff game. You want the playoffs? We're basically in the playoffs. These next 2 games, you're in the playoffs.
Four Conference USA teams. We'll talk, and there, John has the standings up now, and you can see Jacksonville State 6-0, Sam and Western Kentucky 5-1, Liberty at 4-2. It's a 4-horse race with 2 spots in championship game. And
I don't know if I've ever seen a conference championship race like this. You have 4 teams going into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. All 4 teams control their own destiny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. All 4 teams can still host. And obviously all 4 teams, we all play each other. That's the last 2 games is a little bit of a round robin almost between these teams. So it's going to be a fun and interesting final 2 weeks of the regular season. I will put out a teaser. I went through, there's 16 different scenarios that those 4 teams could have, win or lose. I took a screenshot of it. My sketchy, notebook paper that I was breaking it all down to you, Richie, the other day. But I got an article coming out hopefully tomorrow, breaking it all down. The bottom line for Liberty is you win your 2 games, you're in. If you more than likely you'll be playing at Jack State, but if you win your 2 games and Jack State loses their 2 games, then you get to host Western Kentucky. So those are the 2 different options for Liberty, but should be a lot of fun.
It's nice to have options. It's great to be in the hunt. 10 years ago, if you said, hey, we're going to be in the hunt to go back-to-back conference championships, I'm in. Sign me up. So excited to see what happens. Also excited to hear what John and Jason Porter and their weekly special guests, he told me who they were earlier, and I already forgot. So let's kick it to them.
Hey Flames Nation, this is Kyle Rode.
This is Rachel Root.
This is Kaden Salter.
We would just want to say thank you for supporting athletes like us through the Flames Rising Collective.
The Flames Rising Collective is a registered 501c3, providing opportunities for student athletes to use their name, image, and likeness while serving our local community.
100% of everything contributed to the collective will go directly to creating name, image, and likeness opportunities for Liberty student athletes.
Help us be champions for Christ and champions on the field. Flames.
And we're back. Jason Porter joining me as always. And this week it's Austin Henderson, Liberty tight end, joining us. Start with you, JP. How are you doing? You got your Christmas tree up there. Let me remove this graphic so we can see you guys better.
Yeah,
Christmas tree there behind you.
I decided to rotate the studio like 35 degrees, and look what happens all of a sudden.
Yeah, looking good. Hope you're doing well and enjoyed your trip to UMass. And Austin, we'll bring you in now. You guys got the win. I don't know if you got to make the trip with the team, not being able to play, but take us through your emotions and feelings through that game Saturday.
Yeah, I did not actually get to make the trip. Stayed back here in the Berg and held it down for the team. But it was an electric game to win and a miracle that we came out with it. Honestly, all glory to God on that. I mean, you can see that field goal was, that's a 99% in there. So we're thankful that happened and thankful for the opportunity to come out with a victory and then come into this next week with a great opportunity to go out and handle business and win out. So, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. JP, I'd love to get your thoughts on that field goal kick because watching it on TV like Austin and I were, the angle they showed, I almost thought it went in it was so close, obviously. It almost looked like it went in, and I had to look down at the refs to see their signal. What about from your angle, JP? Did you have a better view of it? Could you tell it was no good?
Yeah, it was to the left of where Alan and I were for the broadcast booth. But what was interesting about that, and I think we may have mentioned this on the air, is that the first kick that he tucked inside that right upright. And I mean, it was a rotation thing where if the laces would have been on the outside, I think it would have maybe even ricocheted out. So it was similar to what he did on that first kick. He just got it to kick in or kick out, thankfully. And like Austin said, we were all praising the Lord over the miss.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Austin, tight end room has been banged up. You're injured and come back from an injury, and Bentley as well. But Jacob Jenkins has gotten his chance and made a few big catches. Had a touchdown, I believe, a week prior against Middle Tennessee. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Jenkins, the Coastal Carolina transfer. Didn't get to play last year as he had his waiver denied to play immediately. But tell us a little bit more about him, a guy that's probably going to have a much bigger role here going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Great guy and hard worker. Came with the coaching staff from Coastal and had a sucky situation, honestly, to come in here and sit out a year is hard at any level. So he kept the course and just worked hard, put his head down, went to work. And, thankful that he gets an opportunity to go out there and make some plays and step into a great role that we need. And yeah, I pray for him. I pray that he stays healthy and dominates every single day. We love to see our tight end brothers, but any of our teammates, we love to see our teammates just succeed. So praying for that success for him to help us win. And yeah, he's a great guy. He's one of my close friends for sure. And yeah, just it has been tough with the season and the tight ends being banged up a little bit, everybody being banged up a little bit, honestly. But for every day we get opportunity to wake up and anytime we get to play football, we love it, take advantage of it, and don't take it for granted. So yeah, whatever that looks like, we're thankful and excited for what God's doing on the team, excited for what he's doing in my life and everybody's life around us. And we're just excited for what God has in store for this team. I see a great finish to the season and only God getting the glory for it. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And we're excited for what this team can do and excited for whatever my role is the rest of the season. And yeah, just encouraging the guys. So.
Yeah, Austin, I'm getting worried that you guys are going to have your position meeting in the training room, so don't let Coach do that. But it could be more efficient for you guys. Hey,
That's good.
we talked about from the top of the broadcast and from the top of the year, just knowing that that you guys were going to get everybody's best shot all year long. Coming into this season for sure, and saw it with FIU, saw it with Kennesaw State, and certainly Saturday with UMass. Not that you can ever prepare for that, but are you sensing that really has been the case? Maybe some extra, inertia, guys playing a little bit harder against you guys. I know that's a tough metric to sort of quantify, but it really is kind of sensed that way to us. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely evident. I think the reality is we want everybody's best shot, and we got to compete against ourselves every single day. And when we play as a team, when we play together, when we're competing against ourselves, and it's next play, next play, next play, type mentality, and we have fun as a group, I don't think anybody can beat us. And I think that's what we've seen all season is we've beat ourselves. We've not been energetic. We've not been joyful. The things that we need that we had. And then we need to walk in. And I'm excited to see these guys with this opportunity this weekend, go out there and just be joyful, and for us to just have the joy of the Lord, honestly. Like, that's what we need, and we need more of it all throughout the team. Just continue to shine Christ's light with every opportunity. And I know God blesses that. And I think we're just thankful that we're even in a position right now, with everything that happened, we're in a position to still be champions, and that's what's important. So, at the end of the day, we're champions with Christ, but we want to be champions out there on the field too, and everything we do. So excited for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Austin, you talk about it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, something Coach Chadwell talked about in his press conference this morning, after those 2 losses, tough losses to Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. It kind of felt like, all hope was lost for the conference championship, to be honest. I mean, we got 2 losses and you're in 4th place. You kind of feel like, oh man, we're going to need all the help in the world we can get. But, the Flames have gotten that help, right? I mean,
Right.
you take care of business these next 2 weeks, as we've talked about, win these next 2 games, you're playing for a conference championship, and who that opponent is, we'll just have to wait and see. But, how much rejuvenation, if that's the right word, or hope, if that's the right word, confidence, does that kind of instill in you guys as you go into this stretch run, these final 2 weeks, knowing that your ultimate goal of winning a conference championship is still right there in front of you?
Yeah. I think the confidence is there for sure. It needs to be, and you can always grow in that. The balance of being confident and not cocky, right? I think we got a little cocky, to be completely honest with you. We all fall short in that. In life, we're gonna have seasons where you might get a little over your head on what you actually are, and the humility of a believer and the humility of one who walks with Christ is what we need every single day, and we need more of it. So I think it's good what all happened, and God is teaching us so many lessons through this season, of just what it looks like to be humble and hungry. And when you're hungry, the most hungry dog gets fed. So I think that's the thing, is like, let's go out there and let's get fed. And I trust the Lord that He's going to bless us in whatever way He wants to bless us, and His plan is, and how He needs to work in our lives. So I'm excited to see the victory this weekend. And that's not just on the football field. That's just in life. So excited to see what God's doing on the team with the guys. It's really encouraging to just see that. Like, you can see the heart postures and God working in the hearts of the men on that team. So just continue to shine His light, and I'm excited for our guys. Just what we got in front of us. It's a great opportunity.
So Saturday's obviously a huge ball game, Austin, with Western Kentucky. But I think I kind of lost in the scope of everything that it's also Senior Day,
Mm-hmm.
and Sierra, of course, posted some names, and you start rolling through that names of guys that are going to be seniors that are going to be recognized. Tell us a little bit about this senior class and what they've meant to the program and to you personally.
I think it's a strong senior class for sure. It's a great group of guys who lead our team. I think they work hard, and this program is a special place to me. Honestly, if I wouldn't have been blessed with a or a redshirt year, COVID redshirt, whatever it was, I'd probably in that senior class. So thankful that I have another year with Liberty. Thankful for the opportunity, but excited to see those guys, go out there, lay it out on the line for the brothers, and then our teammates laid out on the line for them. So excited to see again what God's doing through the team. Just excited for this opportunity because it is a lot, and the opportunities in front of us. We got to go capitalize. We got to go get fed, like I said, and just excited to see how God's going to move and give us strength in this game this Saturday.
Austin, last question for you. We'll let you get going. Kind of piggyback off JP's question just there about the seniors. One of those seniors is Bentley Hanshaw, a fellow tight end there in the room, a team captain. You guys both transferred in at the same time, and it kind of been a big part of the team's success over especially these past two seasons. Last year and again this year. You told us a little bit about Jacob. Tell us a little bit about Bentley and just the relationship the two of you guys have and what he means to this team and to yourself personally.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, it's a brotherhood in that tight end room, and me and Bentley came in together under Coach Ben and Coach Freeze. So thankful for that time and thankful for the time that me and Bentley got to bond as that brotherhood. I saw Bentley come in late. I came in kind of early in that recruiting process, and then he came in as a late add-on. And I've just seen how God's blessed his career, which is fun to watch. It's fun to see. It's fun to see how he works, and he's a consistent guy. Guys, he's going to show up, and just you're going to get what you're going to get from him. And he's a consistent guy for the team. Does his job at a high level, and so it's been good to work side by side with him. And last season, obviously, me and him were playing together a lot more, but super fun, that historic season that we had. Nobody can take that from us, right? And that's the blessing of it, is like me and him were side by side in that whole deal, working through splitting reps last season, and so it's fun to battle with that brother, and excited to have him as a brother for life, and see what God does in his life. So just excited for him, and I hate that he got banged up a little bit, but he'll be good. And just looking forward to seeing what all God's going to do in his life. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Austin, for your time. And man, hate that you've gotten dinged up and have missed these past few games. It may be a little bit of bad luck we have in this spot with our guy 5'5" Brendan Schlittler last year going down. So no bad juju to anybody else out there, but that they may join us. But hey, Austin, appreciate your leadership on this team, and look forward to seeing you on a Saturday.
Hey, praise God, and thankful for the Lord's peace and joy, man, to get through this whole thing, and thankful that my identity is not in football. It's just something I do. So we're excited for whatever role God has, and I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a blessed night.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, Austin.
JP, it's always good. We say it every week, but just hearing those guys. I mean, Austin's one of them. Quentin as well, who's on here with us each week. They're just their experience, their maturity, their wisdom at that age. I know I may not have that level of wisdom at this age, much less when I was in college. So it's refreshing to talk to them and hear that from them.
Yeah, and I think too, the thing as well, John, and you cover the team probably much more regularly than I do, but having been on the road trips and in the team chapels and stuff, Jamie Chadwell and that staff, Dr. Gomes, PJ Preston, one of the chaplains as well, just constantly reminding these guys that, again, their identity's in Christ. Football is just what they do, and it's exactly what Austin just said a minute ago. And they're learning some great lessons this year, and will continue to do so. But it's always awesome to hear that manifest.
Yeah, it really is, and we get so caught up in covering the team and the outcomes, and what's next, and are they living up to the expectations, et cetera, and I mean that's what we're here for. That's what we do as fans and followers of the program. But getting to know some of these guys over the past several years and this year as well, it's good to hear. You got a lot of good guys in that program, and look forward to continuing to pull for them moving forward. But JP, tell us a little bit more about some of this real estate business you got. As you guys know that follow ASOR Red and our podcast, JP's your man to go to for any residential and commercial real estate needs. And tell me a little bit more about appliances. Sometimes they are part of the real estate transaction. Sometimes they can be negotiated in, and maybe are there maybe some other items that you can also negotiate as part of the sale as well too?
Yeah, definitely, and that's a really good question. A lot of times, appliances, refrigerators, anything that's built in contractually will convey with the house or come with the house. But what's interesting, what a lot of people don't realize, is it's important if you're looking around the house, especially maybe it's a newlywed couple or first-time home buyers, and they're thinking, how am I going to furnish this place? Sometimes sellers are actually willing to leave some of their furniture, leave some appliances, leave some different things like that. In fact, I just closed a house last week where the buyers asked for a ping pong table, an elliptical, a sectional, and they got it. So it's just a matter of making those requests. It's separate from the sales contract because obviously the bank doesn't want to know about that kind of stuff. They just see it as what's called a bill of sale. But if there's something around the house that could serve you well as a buyer, it behooves you to go ahead and ask. And again, we can always drill deep into something more specific. If you've got some questions with that, all my contact information is there, but never hurts to ask.
Yeah, no doubt. I know the house we currently live in, when we bought it, it was a flip prior, so it had nothing. It was bare bones. We moved in, didn't have blinds in the house, didn't have toilet paper holders or towel racks or anything. It's like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about some of this small stuff till you actually get in there and start living in it. But so it's always good to have a pro like Jason in your corner. So feel free to reach out to him if you have any questions or needs. JP, appreciate you, my
John.
guy.
Just one quick story too. I heard you and Richie talking about the brand recognition that Liberty's garnering. Was at the hotel in Springfield, Massachusetts, and a guy sees the logo and he says, "Oh, Liberty, you guys are playing UMass." Unbelievable. Up there, didn't have to explain it or anything. So it's really cool to see how the Liberty logo and the following is increasing.
Yeah, it was something Coach Freeze used to talk about all the time when he was here, is getting those opportunities to play other teams and win some of those big games like we've done over the past few years. And the brand has certainly grown. It's much more of a household name. Richie was talking about being in Colorado with some of his non-Liberty friends and talking about how they were talking about the Liberty game. A lot of that success you have last year, it carries over and people pay attention and know who you are. So it's been a great time, even through the ups and downs this season, which have been a lot of ups. It's still a fun time to follow the Flames and see that brand continue to grow.
Absolutely.
All right, JP, thanks, man. Appreciate you. I'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks, John.
Virginia's best and most flames-friendly coffee comes from Ironclad Coffee Roasters. Ironclad Roasting serves up their beautiful beans at 2 cafes in Richmond, where you can enjoy their craft roasted specialty beans from anywhere in the country by visiting www.ironcladcoffee.com. Place your order there and it will be directly shipped to your doorstep. Whenever you find yourself in the capital of the Commonwealth, pay them a visit at one of their 2 cafes in the Richmond area. Ironclad's owners, the O'Rourke family, are proud Flames Club members and season ticket holders. And now they're pleased to sponsor the podcast from the CRA. Hop over to www.ironcladcoffee.com now to get your Virginia's best specialty coffee headed your way.
CT, welcome.
How we doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you.
So we like to hear. John, great interview. Always great to hear a little bit of what's going on inside the program. Gets a great look to kind of get the vibe of the players, how they're feeling going through this season and all that good stuff. So Western Kentucky, flash back to a year and a half ago. This was the game to watch. We had this circled preseason 1-2, a lot of eyes on it. And a year later, the same remains. It's a game where a lot of eyes are going to be on it, not just in Lynchburg, in wherever Western Kentucky plays, but kind of across the Conference USA footprint. So excited about it. Any game when you have a logo like that is always entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you mentioned last year, Western Kentucky preseason favorites. Liberty was picked second. This year, the roles are kind of reversed. Liberty was a preseason favorite and Western Kentucky was picked second. And both teams, 2 of the 4 battling out for those top 2 spots. And, this Western Kentucky team is really good. Coach Chadwell was talking about it this morning, saying how, this is the best team, most talented team, most complete team that Coach Tyson Helton has had during his time at Western Kentucky, which that's saying something. I mean, this is,
Mm.
he's done a great job. They've won 8 games pretty much every year except for the COVID season under his watch, and they're 1 win away, as you see here on the screen, at 7-3 from getting out to 8 wins as well this season. So it's going to be a big test. It's one of those games that Liberty could play their best game of the season and still lose. CT, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it really is. We saw what would you say was our best game up until this point?
I think it had to be the Middle Tennessee, most complete
Sure.
game, Middle Tennessee from start to finish.
Yeah, and so we saw that. We saw us be able to get a win based on our best. Also, probably one of our better ones was probably the Jacksonville State game. In theory, if you look at it, and we saw we weren't able to produce a win. And there were some mishaps that led to that, of course. So, but it was a pretty decent game. So, yeah, I mean, Western Kentucky's the same way. If we have if our game is 95% complete in terms of how we play, and there's 5% missing, we could be leaving Williams Stadium with a second loss at home this season. So
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we saw that against Jack State, like you said. I mean, you change 2 or 3 plays in that Jack State game, and we win that game, right? I mean, you got that 4th and 1 late. You got the Salter interception on the final drive. If you get one more stop on defense, you're exactly right. And one thing about this Western Kentucky team under Coach Helton, it's been all about their offense, their passing game, and their quarterbacks have put up tremendous numbers. And as you can see here, if you're watching live, Veltkamp has done the same thing for them. And those numbers he hasn't even done in a full season. He came in game 3 after TJ Finley, their presumptive starter and starter for the first 3 games, went down to injury, but he's grabbed hold of that. But it's really been their defense. They have not – their defense has done amazing. I mean, even their loss this past week to Louisiana Tech, they only gave up 12 points, didn't even allow a touchdown. How many teams nowadays in college football don't even allow a touchdown and still lose? But that's something that they did. And they have not given up more than 21 points in a Conference USA game except for once. They haven't given up 30 points all season except for Alabama in the season opener. So this defense is really playing at a high level, and you couple that with a prolific passing offense, the best in Conference USA. They're a tough out.
Yeah, and you got to think them coming off of a home loss against La Tech. They're in kind of that, which path are they going to go down? They know they control their own destiny as well. So I can't imagine a world where Tyson Helton, who I think is a great coach, I'm shocked he doesn't get attached to more kind of coaching hire during the carousel time.
Well, have you seen the news? I don't know if you've been around. He's actually the leader, according to some, for the East Carolina job. That just came out. That report just came out this week.
That's a shame.
And it makes you think, does that have something to do with their performance this past Saturday? Because that game, if you look at the box score and the stats and the final result, it's an outlier from the rest of their season. Like it doesn't.
Very bizarre. I just looked. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like them only scoring 7 points and losing at home, that doesn't make sense for what they've done all season. So again, it could have just been an anomaly, but the fact that this report comes out, what was it, yesterday, I believe, about him being the leader for the East Carolina job, it makes you wonder, like, is that getting into the locker room a little bit?
Yeah, it would be a shame if all the Liberty fans started retweeting those reports and those rumors just as a, hey, just get it out there. It'd be a shame to mess with those players' heads.
Hey, it's never happened to us before.
It's never happened before. I mean, it'd be a real shame if at maybe like 12:45 someone tweeted that Tyson Helton was going to East Carolina.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh, well, it is what it is. I can only hope for the best. But again, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond from kind of an out of nowhere loss. They do have to now travel to Lynchburg. It's a tough place to play. I imagine Williams Stadium is going to be rocking.
Well, it'll be interesting.
There,
Students are on break next week.
They get a full week?
Yeah, they get a full week. So
you tell me they wear T-shirts to class next too, aren't you, John Manson?
I think they do. Can't they, CT? I think they can wear T-shirts now.
But
but yeah, they're out all next week. So I have confidence. This is the first Saturday game we've had since East Carolina, and technically that was more of a Sunday game than a Saturday game. So you have to go all the way back to UTEP if you can even remember that game and what happened there to the last Saturday game at Williams Stadium. So I certainly hope there's a great crowd. Hopefully there's enough students that stay in town, but I certainly hope the community and those are in and around Lynchburg within a day's drive can get out to Williams Stadium. We're going to need all of them.
Yeah, agreed. Players to watch. What are we thinking about going in? Who are we looking at? And you can see it on the screen. We have gentlemen we just heard from a little bit ago, and last week, 2 weeks before, Mr. Quentin Reese, safety, senior, going to be recognized with many others on our senior day, and junior tight end Jacob Jenkins. 2 touchdowns this year. It's news to me, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I'll touch on Q Reese, and CT can take Jenkins, and maybe I can add in a little bit more if need be. But I mean, going up against a team like Western Kentucky, a quarterback like Veltkamp, they're going to be slinging the ball all over the field. You expect Liberty to be on the field a lot, their defense on the field a lot with a lot of plays. And Q Reese is the leader of that secondary. He's one of the leaders of the defense, leaders of the team, really. And that secondary, really corner more than safety, but the secondary as a whole has kind of struggled at times this season. We need a guy like Q Reese to step forward, have a good game, fit his assignments appropriately, have the rest of his team ready to go. And it's going to be an important game. Those they got some talented receivers, we need him to play well. I'm also looking forward to like a Brylan Green having a big impact. He's kind of been quiet a little bit. I think, teams have probably been going away from him, which makes sense after the year he had last year. But, we really need that secondary to step forward. And Q Reese on senior day, he's a guy that I'm expecting big things out of.
Yeah, and Jacob Jenkins, I mean, on the offense, there's been a lot of injuries across the offense. I mean, we talked to Austin Henderson a little bit ago. He's one of the leaders from the tight end room, and he's out right now. Other tight ends have been hurt as well. So Jacob's a guy who might have initially been, second, third on the depth chart, but he's been able to step up in recent weeks for sure. Been able to get up multiple receptions, couple touchdowns now at this point, and to a point where he's a blanket there in the middle of the field for Salter, for a check down, for a good short route, whatever it may be. And he can really help extend drives. And in the red zone, he's a big body as well. So he's been able to step up a lot for the team. And so expect him to continue to make an impact against Western Kentucky.
Yeah, he had a touchdown catch against Middle Tennessee a week and a half ago. And then I think you touched on it there, a couple of catches last week that were crucial in crucial spots. So I expect more out of them. And especially with, not just the injuries at tight end, but the inconsistent play we've seen at wide receiver this year. CT, I think you shared a stat with me this morning about, Liberty's, this isn't a good stat to lead the country in, but they're among the leaders in dropped, not drop passes, but yards lost due to drop passes. That we know about the inconsistency that Liberty's had at the receiver room this year, and some of that's due to injury, right, and inexperience for some of the guys that stepped in. But having a guy like Jenkins that's hopefully getting on the same page with K Salt can only help us moving forward.
Yeah, exciting to see. I say it all the time. Every Saturday, it's just fun to watch some college football. It's even more fun when you have a meaningful game the second half of August with stuff on the line, things to play for, and it's not just all right, win another game, waiting on the where our bowl game would be, and that was kind of the vibe before the Conference USA stuff. So there's a lot you can say about it, but exciting to have these opportunities to watch them get out there and play.
So I just saw CT's tagline here. He controls his own destiny. I love it. You guys are so witty with your taglines here. Again, I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. You guys have got to watch us watch them. These guys are entertaining, and CT had a funny one a couple weeks ago, and talking about somebody leaving Mellow Mushroom early. I did it again tonight, but that's because I have a podcast to get home and get ready for. So at least that's what I say.
No, I don't think CT mentioned anyone specific by name, but
it's true.
If that's your cross to bear, John,
name it and claim it, John.
Yeah. So controlling your own destiny. When I think of that, I think about putting yourself in the position to succeed. And when you're thinking about vacations, where you want to go, control your own destiny and go somewhere that you are going to succeed at, where you don't even need to worry about destiny, because fate will take over and you will have a phenomenal time in where else but Leesburg, Florida.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions. Crystal clear natural springs in one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg the way Florida is meant to be.
We are in full swing of college football, and it is a bit chaotic.
Very.
A bit chaotic. A lot of crazy things happening. We just saw Wisconsin take Oregon all the way deep into the fourth quarter. The SEC, who knows who's going to win the SEC? That's completely wide open. Yep. Big 12 kind of in shambles. BYU being bad at football. I've been on that since week one. Glad I was right there, but it's chaotic. It's crazy, not just in Conference USA, but kind of across the country, outside of maybe the Mountain West, where
that in the AAC. AAC is determined to land against Army, but that's about it.
Everything else is kind of out in the open. Who's going to be that second team? Can Indiana play spoiler? Big 12's another one. Colorado's charging. Who knows what that's going to look like? The ACC, Miami and Clemson. Like, there really is no conference, no major P4 in most of the G5 where there's one team that is head and shoulders above everyone else.
And I forgot that the new rankings just came out a little bit ago as well. Completely off my radar. I pulled them up right now just to look at it. There's a lot of shakeup just because of all the different results this week. One thing to note, Boise's now in the 4 seed.
Saw that.
They're 12th overall, but they would get the 4 seed right now, which is crazy to see.
I would be baffled if that holds true.
You would think whoever wins the Big 12, they'll just automatically jump them.
Yeah, if Colorado keeps winning, sorry, Boise, you probably deserve it. But if you don't think ESPN's going to milk 2 weeks of Dion coverage, you're an idiot. So that's coming down the pike. It's going to be interesting. Are they going to throw in a 3-loss SEC team?
Are they
one loss? Yeah, they will. I was talking with our buddies over the weekend. I'm like, I just get right. I'm sorry, Indiana. I'm sorry, but if Indiana loses to Ohio State and Ohio State then loses in the Big Ten championship game, they're not putting 3 Big Ten teams. And you still have Penn State. They're not putting the 4th Big Ten team in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Loss. They would.
They're going to put a 3-loss Tennessee or 3-loss Alabama. Like, no shot. We saw what happened last year with Florida State.
Maybe next week on the pod we have a full segment just talking about playoff scenarios. I feel like that'd be fun. But
exactly, we got a chance to do it with New York 6 scenarios last year. But exciting Conference USA slate. It is put or shut up time, and as we always do, we kick it off. Western Kentucky at Liberty. Liberty opened as a 1-point favorite, and that line is all over the place.
It's back and forth. Yeah.
So it really is a 1-point game in either way. Over/under is 57.5. Kind of lean the under. Liberty unders this year, I feel like have profited a little bit more than taking the over. But I don't have a read on this game. It's tough,
Yeah, it is really tough. I mean, anything can happen with the spread. I am going to side with you on the under. I feel like we probably sound like broken records at this point. And if we talk more about the game in the next segment, we can break this down more. But in my mind, it's Western Kentucky. Their passing game is probably stronger than their rushing game. I feel like our defense has struggled more against the rush than the pass overall. So that's a little bit good on our side for defense. And their defense has been very strong, as John said. I mean, they haven't really given up over like 21 points in Conference USA. And our offense has struggled a lot. So it's time for them to show up, but against a very tough defensive test. So to me, that says under. I mean, 28-21, something like that feels very realistic, and that soars under. So I would not be surprised if this game does not get to 50 points.
Yeah, agreed. Hopefully Liberty wins, but again, I'm not the only one that thinks that this game could go either way, but I do like the under. Game kicking off an hour before the Liberty Western Kentucky contest, Sam Houston at Jacksonville State. Now, I'm pretty sure we should be rooting for Sam Houston State.
We're huge Sam Houston
Sam guys.
Fans.
Maybe we could get a little rumor out there that Rich Rod's leaving Jacksonville State. I don't know. Maybe that can become our shtick. Jacksonville State favorited by a little under a touchdown and over under at 52.5. I'd lean Jacksonville State. I don't know if the Sam Houston Cinderella story can go on all season. And Jacksonville State, I think, with a win here, they can kind of put it to bed. They're in the Conference USA.
Yeah, their berth is locked if they win this game.
Yeah. So I kind of lean Jacksonville State. They're at home. They can just get it done right there and still play for that home Conference Championship game, but they can at least kind of have that to hang back on.
John's probably going to correct us after this on some wild scenario.
Oh, I'm definitely wrong.
Clinch, but I don't know what that is. So yeah, I'm purely for the vibes. I'll say Sam Houston money line because again, Jacksonville State loses out. If we win out, interesting things could happen. So Sam Houston money line, but I agree they've started to fade here in the back half of the season. Jacksonville State has looked consistently strong, but for the vibes, Sam Houston money line.
Exactly. Weird things happened last year. Weird things can happen again this year when it comes to helping out Liberty.
Yep.
2:30 kick, New Mexico State against Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee favored by 3.5 points. Over under 51 probably makes sense. New Mexico curtains. They're might be it for them.
Yeah. Curtains,
so, yeah.
For sure. So in a game of who cares, I'm going to go with Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, if you think those New Mexico State football players are thrilled to leave the lovely New Mexico area and get on a plane and travel halfway across the country. I don't know what the weather is, but I'm sure it's not as nice as New Mexico to play a mostly meaningless football game. I can't imagine a world where they get up for that game.
You never know.
Mean. That's mean. I'll admit it, but it is what it is.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee State. Ride them. Around the country, maybe not the most exciting outside of the game of the week. Not a lot of great games. I feel like this is that SEC week where they just play a bunch of FCS teams. Am I right or am I wrong?
There's some out there. I know Alabama has Mercer. It's not as many as maybe normal, but those are definitely out there.
Yeah, not a ton of thrilling games, but my favorite, Arizona State against Utah. Utah, a dead football team. You want to talk about a team that's kind of rolled over and given up. When I was walking in, because I took Colorado last week, and my buddy goes, "Who's the starter for Utah?" And someone goes, "Garrett Wilson." I go, "Any relation to Zach Wilson?"
Yep.
And someone, "Yeah, I think it's his brother." I went, "Yep, that's all I need to hear. Put another burger on Colorado because you need not go to football. Better than me at football, better than a lot of people at football, but Arizona State's been sneaky this year. They're at home.
Yep.
I'm sure that stadium is going to be just nuts. It's Arizona State. They have a competent football team this year, well exceeded kind of expectations. I just think at 3.5 is not enough. Give me A State.
Yeah, completely agree. And if BYU or Colorado slip up again, Arizona State's there in the waiting.
Oh yeah,
ready for the conference championship game. So impressive, very impressive what they've done. if history is any precedent, I'm going to get crucified for this. So JMU -7 at App State. Georgia Southern was in control of the Sun Belt East. They lost last week, opened up the door for maybe JMU. App State, we know from other results, not from playing them, but we know from other results that they've struggled this year, especially on the defensive end with tackling. I think JMU rolls all over them on their path to try to get to the Sun Belt Championship. So yeah, JMU -7. Don't need to spend any more time on it because people don't want to hear that.
Just going to lead to angry tweets. Upset alert. BC, short money line underdog against UNC. BC's playing for bowl eligibility. They're a classic, just 6 wins, get to the bowl game, maybe make some noise there. UNC, I think, has underperformed significantly this year. Yep. Mac Brown tried retiring at one point. Like, it's just been not UNC's year. BC at home, I assume it's their senior night. I forget. I think they have Pitt the next week to close out. So this is their best shot at bowl eligibility. They're going to leave it all out there. So give me BC.
Yeah. I was surprised. I thought they were going to go just into the dumpster fire after their quarterback entered the transfer portal. And they played really well last week. I don't think they got the win, but they played really well last week. So I fully support you here. I'm taking Kansas against Colorado. Colorado, as you saw in person, they've looked pretty strong.
Yeah.
They surprised a lot of people. No hate to them. All applause, everything else. But Kansas has absolutely turned the corner in what looked like a travesty of a season compared to what expectations were for them. And they've been firing on all cylinders. So I think this is something that Colorado would be looking a little bit ahead to what lies in the wait with the playoff potentially, with the Big 12 championship potentially, with getting Travis Hunter the Heisman potentially. Like, those are all things that they're looking ahead to. And I think it could cause a spot where they slip up here going on the road against a team that is extremely hot right now. So don't wish it upon them, but I do think Kansas has a really good shot to play spoiler. So give me Kansas money line +125.
Yeah, and now you got to deal with Dion leaving for the Cowboys whispers. I saw that all over social media before we started. So it's that time of year. There's whispers, there's rumors, there's all sorts of things. So control what you can control and let it be. So points. Kentucky, Texas over 47. I think Texas can just score 42 on their own. They're trying to rev up. They know they're going to be playing most likely in the SEC championship game. I don't know who Texas plays next week. So
A&M.
Yeah. All right. Still like SEC. Any SEC game where the over-unders in the 40s and it doesn't involve, Vanderbilt or Mississippi State, I'm just going to take the over.
Sure. I support you. And I think I'm pulling up the standings right now. Yeah. So as long as Texas and A&M don't slip up this week, that game's win and you're in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
So lose and who knows? You might win a tiebreaker. You might lose a tiebreaker. You might be out of the playoffs. Literally anything could go.
It's not only coaching whisper season, it's also tiebreaker season. Because no one has any idea any of the tiebreakers. I just saw that Oregon came out and like, turns out we're locked into the Big Ten championship game. Like, they had no idea.
Sure.
And normally you'd celebrate that Saturday night. No, they were, Tuesday. Turns out we're in. So there's just so many scenarios everywhere that makes it exciting to see.
I'm going to take my points to ECU North Texas over 73.5.
A lot of points. I love it.
A lot of points. And I have played these a bit this season to various results. Here's the thing. ECU, after they fired their coach, their offense has been electric.
Yeah.
Putting up 40, 50 points a game, like absolutely insane. North Texas, on the other hand, their offense has been elite all season, and their defense has been horrid. Just absolutely terrible, giving up 40, 50 points to everybody. So that being the case, points. Pretty simple there. I can see this game. It's going to be a fight. That's a lot of points, but give me over 73.5. Let's get an 80 burger.
No, I'm jumping in. I feel like it's that point of college football season where games are either in the 20s or the 80s. Just Bring on the chaos. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what the vibe is like in the locker room and what teams are going to do. So at that point, root for points and have fun. Game of the week. For some reason, it's at noon, right? They put this game at noon because no one cares about anything in college football anymore other than making money. So game of the week, the biggest game in probably Indiana football history, is being played at noon. Ohio State favored by 13 points, and the over-under is 52.5. I could see Ohio State. They just have so many good football players that, Indiana coming off a bye, that might help a little bit. But in this situation, I just think if you're coming off a bye, all you've been thinking about is this game. Like what's that going to be like when they walk into the shoe and it is 80,000 people just going absolutely bananas. Yeah, going just bananas. So I don't know if Indiana's up for it. It's a big. They just signed Signetti to an extension. This is a tough one for them. I just hope it doesn't turn out like the Mel Tucker where you throw the guy a big extension and a bunch of money off one good season. And, turns out you got a tougher Big Ten schedule next year. They've had it pretty decently easy go at it. So Ohio State, I just think they roll them. But I've been rolling on Ohio State a lot this year.
And last I checked, Mel Tucker didn't say to Google him because he wins. He might have said Google him because of other things. But
yeah, don't Google Mel Tucker. Don't Google anything Michigan State.
That's very true. Or Penn State for that matter. Anyways, moving on. So I would say this is going to be the most obvious cliche thing I could say. And I've said some multiple things like that. But anything could happen in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of Indiana, they're coming off a bye. They're undefeated. They have a lot less talent. Everything that you said. On the other hand, Ohio State, they had Michigan next week.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how long it's been since Ohio State beat Michigan?
They'll fire Ryan Day on the tarmac if they lose to Michigan.
Exactly. So there is a chance, this is a top 5 matchup, that Ohio State cares more about the Michigan game than this.
Sure.
Let's be real. There's a chance that they're able to focus well. And so I'm just literally saying anything could happen. I like what you said with Ohio State minus 13. I think if you're going to play something on its side, it's Ohio State on the spread or Indiana money line. One or the other, no in between. That being the case, I'm staying away. I'm sticking with my system that's been tried and true. And it's if you have 2 ranked teams and the spread is double digits, just take the under. Works like a charm. Worked for me plenty before. No other analysis besides that. But I'm going to take the under 52.5.
Don't think, just do. So any weekend with college football is an exciting weekend, but it's kind of lame kicking things off with the game of the week at 12, but such is life. So have you ever felt like your betting luck is as inconsistent as the job security of the head coaches who play Liberty? Well, Better Bettors Coaching is here to change that. They specialize in transforming sports betting into a smarter, more profitable experience. With personalized coaching focused on small bankroll management, disciplined betting habits, and data-driven strategies, they tailor everything to fit your goals. Head over to betterbetterscoaching.com and sign up for your complimentary call today. Better Bettors Coaching. With the right coaching, winning consistently isn't a gamble. I assume you saw my Will Dissly first touchdown on Sunday night.
Did.
Yeah, wild.
Props to you. Colorado treated you well.
Oh yeah, great trip. And
I should have added. Sorry, Richie. I should have added Will Dissly that play as well too. I added him to my fantasy football team, and he had a very nice day.
Very good game. 80 plus yards, 4 receptions, and a touchdown. You get that from a streaming tight end. You'll take that any day of the week. So, what do we got on deck for the game on Saturday?
Well, I wanted to go back to your last segment there. I wish I could watch that Indiana-Ohio State game. Why does it have to be at noon? Man, that's a game that I kind of been looking for. I've been watching Indiana. CT, we've talked about this before, you and I offline. Mm-hmm. I've been watching Indiana. I've been riding Indiana. Mm-hmm. They've been a wagon all season. Curt Signetti, now that he's not in Harrisonburg at JMU, I'm a fan of the guy. I love his swagger for an old white guy.
Yeah.
Like he's just fun. And so I hope they win. That's a game I would love to watch. But hey, we'll have
You'll
more
have multiple
important
TVs in the press box for you.
no, probably not. Well, I was going to say something about press boxes and games I'm going to soon, but I'll save that. But anyways, it's I wish I could watch that game, but no, I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's our last confirmed home game at Williams Stadium, and it wasn't that long ago, right? It feels like 2 weeks ago we were amped up and ready for the season opener against Campbell, and Richie was coming in town, and it was going to be a great time, and it was a great time, and here we are at the end of the season. So it's always a little bittersweet. It always goes by so fast, but should be a great atmosphere, great environment. It's going to be a little chilly out there, so bundle up. Hopefully you are sitting on the student side. If you don't have season tickets, get over on that side. You have at least some sun in your face for the first half, keep you a little bit warmer. But that the weather forecast actually could help Liberty, because there's also a chance for a decent amount of wind, and that can only play into the effects of a passing game and help a running attack like Liberty. And I say turn around, K-Salt, turn around and give it to Quentin Cooley every day. Let it be a Q Cooley legacy game. Remember, was it Frankie Hickson a couple years ago on senior day? He just like beasted and had a bunch of carries and led us to victory. Let's have a day like that for Cooley on Saturday.
All I'm hearing is just hammer the Cooley.
The Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm in. Print the t-shirts. Anything else scenarios, John? What do you got for us?
Yes, I think I kind of laid it out for Liberty, but every team, all four of them, you win 2 games, you're in. Liberty, if Liberty loses a game, they're done. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But if you lose, you're done. The other teams, they can split their games and still have, with some help, can still get in. Jacksonville State can technically lose both of their games and still has a path to get in. So there are a ton of scenarios. It makes my brain hurt looking at them. But for Liberty, it's pretty straightforward. Win your 2 games and you're in. And like I said at the beginning, and if you missed that, I'll just recap real quickly. If Liberty wins its 2 games, it's likely playing at Jack State for conference championship game. The only exception would be if Liberty wins its 2 games and Jack State loses its 2 games, then Liberty would host Western Kentucky. So, like CT said a minute ago, we're Sam Houston fans this weekend. We want Sam Houston to win. Can't do anything but help us. And because we obviously lose the tiebreaker to Jack State, and they're currently unbeaten in conference play. But, and it's also funny, too, Louisiana Tech's another team that was really playing some good football, and they should have beaten Jacksonville State 2 weeks ago. That crazy Hail Mary we talked about, then they also lost it in overtime, and then they did beat Western Kentucky on the road this past week. So it might be good that we're not playing them, and Sonny Cummings really coaching for his job there, and I think they got 7 losses if I'm correct. So I think that Jack State game kind of knocked them out of the bowl contention. But for Liberty, it's simple. Win these 2 games and you're in.
Yeah, I mean, and it's something that while we control our own destiny, technically, I would say our back is still against the wall. Because we are the one team that has to absolutely win both of their games to get in. We can't afford any mistakes, and we have to see our offense perform at the best it's performed all season in this game to likely win against the toughest defense we've faced up until this point, I would say. So while we control our own destiny, our backs are against the wall, and it's time to show up and show what this team is made of. And if they have what it takes, I believe that they can walk out with the win and go to Sam Houston and be fighting for a bid in the conference championship game. But it's not going to be easy, and we're really going to get to see what this team is made of and how this team has maybe grown from past weeks.
So I booked my trip to Houston, Texas before the Kennesaw game, And it would be really unfortunate if Liberty loses Saturday, and I still have to get on a plane and go to Houston. I might divert my plans. I wouldn't be far from Texas A&M. I could go to Texas A&M in Texas on Saturday. Pay a pretty penny to get in the doors, but
I heard you might just take that flight credit for the canceled flight and use it for the bowl game. So
yeah, or Orlando the week before Christmas sounds like a lot of fun.
Look, obviously we want to win these next 2 games, get a conference championship game. That's option 1 and at the top of our list right now. But regardless, and I tweeted about it a little bit this weekend, and say what you want. And if you think this team doesn't deserve a bowl game, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But if you don't want to go to Orlando in mid-December, I don't know what's the matter. Like, come on, get on a plane, get in a car, come on down there. I'll meet you down there, and we will have a fun time in Orlando, in Boca. CT's wanting to go to the Bahamas. I mean,
y'all are selling yourself short. January 4th, right after New Year's, in the Bahamas at Atlantis. Like, Orlando? Like, come on.
I can't go international. I'd have to lie to get a passport. It'd just be I don't think to get a rush passport would be like I need to go see a bowl game.
I think we need a blog about that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna let me overseas like a cruise or something. I do have a passport card, which does get me into Canada and it does get me into the Caribbean islands via boat. So
I've got the same thing, so that could be a problem too. Maybe
Richie domestic only.
Richie and John can take a party boat from Miami to the Bahamas. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know the semantics of it, but I've gotten into crazier shenanigans in my life. But no, give me Orlando, give me Myrtle Beach, just a good atmosphere. Epcot the day before a bowl game. Come on now, that's legendary.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Sign me up. But we can talk about that here in a couple weeks. Hopefully we can take care of business Saturday so I can have a pleasant experience, and I'll have a nice trip to Houston regardless. Family's going. They've never been to Texas, so we'll have a good time. No, but I hope we're going to watch Liberty play for a chance in a conference championship game. That's the ultimate.
Exactly. And it would be a great, like you mentioned, up and down roller coaster season to end with going to a conference championship game would be awesome. So great show. Very excited to see Saturday going up against a great team. We'll be live next Tuesday, right?
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. Thanksgiving Eve. I'm going to be a little tied up Wednesday night. So we'll see you next Tuesday night. Excited for the game on Saturday. On behalf of CT, John Manson, Richie Longshots, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, whatever that looks like on the platform you are consuming this on. It's greatly appreciated. But as always, stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay fly, and we'll see you next week.